March 2026. Rihanna, one of the most powerful women in entertainment, nearly lost her life. 10 shots fired at her Beverly Hills mansion. Her children were inside. A$AP Rocky was there. Her mother was there. And the woman accused of pulling the trigger? A 35-year-old speech pathologist from Florida who spent months posting YouTube videos calling Rihanna a witch, claiming Rihanna was trying to kill her, saying the pop icon worshipped the devil. And now, as the internet tries to make sense of what happened, conspiracy theories are spreading faster than the truth. Some say this was gang retaliation connected to Rocky's past. Others claim Jay-Z and Roc Nation are involved. And a few are asking the question nobody wants to touch. Was this woman actually crazy? Or was she sent by someone? Because when you look at the evidence, when you see the pattern, when you connect the dots between celebrity obsession, mental illness, and the dark side of fame, things get terrifying. And before we go any further, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, because the industry doesn't want this story told the way I'm about to tell it. They want you to think this was just some random attack. But I'm going to show you why this goes deeper than anyone realizes. Let me set the stage for you. March 8, 2026, 1:21 p.m. Pacific Time. Los Angeles Police Department receives a call about shots fired in the Beverly Crest neighborhood, one of the wealthiest, most secure areas in the entire city. The kind of place where security is tight, where celebrities pay millions for privacy, where something like this should never happen. But it did. And the target? Rihanna. Not just any celebrity, not just another pop star. We're talking about a billionaire businesswoman, the founder of Fenty Beauty, a fashion icon, a mother of 3, and one half of the most high-profile relationship in modern hip-hop. Because for those who don't know, Rihanna and A$AP Rocky's relationship has been one of the most documented partnerships in entertainment history. They went from close friends to lovers, from collaborators to parents. And Rocky himself said it best in interviews. His mother told him years ago that Rihanna was the one, that she was different, that she was real. And Rocky, a man who came up in the street of Harlem, who represented the ASAP mob, who lived a life most people can't even imagine, he found peace with her. He found family. He became, as one interviewer put it, the most happily coupled man in rap music, which is saying something, because this is a man who had the world at his feet. The first black male model signed to Dior, a fashion revolutionary, a chart-topping artist, someone who could have anyone, but he chose Rihanna, and she chose him, and together, they built something the public fell in love with. But here's what people forget. Fame at this level comes with danger, real danger, because when you're as powerful as Rihanna, when you control a billion-dollar empire, when you influence culture on a global scale, you become a target, not just for jealousy, not just for envy, but for obsession, for delusion, for people who lose touch with reality. And that's exactly what happened on March 8th. Now here's where things start to get disturbing. The woman accused of this shooting is named Ivanna Ortiz, 35 years old, a licensed speech pathologist from Orlando, Florida, a mother who lost custody of her own children, someone with a documented history of mental health struggles, and someone who, for months before the attack, had been posting videos online, videos about Rihanna, videos claiming Rihanna was a witch, that Rihanna worshipped the devil, that Rihanna was trying to kill her. Listen to her own words, posted just 2 months before the shooting. Rihanna wants to kill me. She's the one who wants to kill me. She's a witch. I'm a watchman. She's a witch. When you die, God is taking me to my future. You want to kill me? Shut the fuck up. Rihanna's faith is the devil. I don't like her, and she's always trying to steal from me. These aren't just random comments. These are the words of someone who had completely disconnected from reality. Someone who genuinely believed, that a global superstar was personally targeting her. And the scariest part? Nobody stopped her. Nobody intervened. Nobody saw the warning signs until it was too late. Because on that Sunday afternoon in March, Ivanna Ortiz allegedly drove to Rihanna's home in a white Tesla Model 3. She pulled up to the gate, and according to police reports, she fired between 7 and 10 shots from a semi-automatic weapon. The bullets struck the gate. They struck an Airstream trailer parked on the property, a trailer where Rihanna and Rocky were inside at that exact moment. And if those bullets had penetrated just a little bit deeper, if that gate hadn't slowed them down, we could be telling a very different story right now. Now, let's talk about what was actually inside that home, because this wasn't just Rihanna and Rocky. Their 3 young children were there. Rihanna's mother was there. 2 staff members were there. 10 people total, which is why, when the charges came down, they were absolutely devastating. 1 count of attempted murder, 10 felony counts of assault with a semi-automatic firearm, 3 felony counts of shooting at an inhabited dwelling. If convicted, Ivanna Ortiz is facing life in state prison. Her bail was initially set at $1.8 million. Then it was raised. Now it sits at over $10 million. Because prosecutors looked at this case and realized something terrifying. This wasn't a crime of passion. This wasn't a random act. This was premeditated, planned, targeted, and the person who did it had been broadcasting her intentions for months. But here's where the internet got involved. And here's where conspiracy theories started to spiral. Because within hours of the news breaking, social media exploded with speculation. Some people said this was connected to Rocky's past, that it was gang retaliation, that Rocky had enemies from his street days who were finally coming for him. Others claimed this was industry politics, that Rock Nation was involved, that Jay-Z had something to do with it. And a few even suggested that Ivanna Ortiz wasn't acting alone, that someone hired her, that this was a hit disguised as the actions of a mentally ill woman. And I'm going to be honest with you. When you look at the facts, when you see how this played out, when you understand the history, some of those theories don't sound as crazy as you might think. Let's start with ASAP Rocky's past. Because if we're going to understand why people immediately connected this to gang violence, we need to talk about where Rocky came from. ASAP Rocky grew up in Harlem. He was part of the ASAP mob, a collective that represented not just music, but a lifestyle. Street credibility was everything. And Rocky, for all his fashion-forward image, for all his high-end collaborations with Dior and Gucci, he came up in a world where violence was real, where gang affiliations mattered, where loyalty could get you killed. And in 2021, Rocky faced one of the most serious legal battles of his career. He was accused in connection with a shooting involving a former associate. The case made international headlines. It threatened to destroy everything he'd built. And while Rocky eventually fought those charges and moved forward, the damage was done. His reputation took a hit, his image shifted, and people in the hip-hop community started wondering, is Rocky really out of that life, or is the past still following him? Because here's the thing about gang culture in hip-hop. You don't just leave. You don't just say, I'm done and walk away clean. Look at what happened to Pop Smoke, a rising star, one of the most exciting voices in New York drill music, killed in a home invasion. Over what? Over nothing. Over flash, over jewelry, over reputation. Look at Casanova, a respected rapper with real street credentials, locked up on racketeering charges tied to gang activity. His career is over. Look at Tekashi 6ix9ine, a man who trolled the gang world, who used it for clout, and then snitched when it got real. Now, he can't go anywhere without security. He can't live a normal life. The pattern is clear. Rappers who come from the streets, who claim gang affiliations, who build their brand on that credibility, they struggle to escape. And when you add in the fact that Rocky was dating and now raising a family with one of the most famous women on the planet, the stakes get even higher. But now let's look at the other side of this. Because while the internet was busy connecting this to Rocky's past, there's another angle that people aren't talking about enough. Rihanna herself, her career, her business empire, and her relationship with one of the most powerful men in music, Jay-Z. For those who don't know, Rihanna's rise to global superstardom was directly tied to Rock Nation. Jay-Z signed her. He mentored her. He helped shape her brand, her image, her business strategy. And for years, that partnership was one of the most successful in entertainment history. But in recent years, something changed. Rihanna stepped back from music. She stopped releasing albums. She stopped touring. Instead, she focused on Fenty, on building her own empire, on creating a billion-dollar brand that had nothing to do with Rock Nation. And some fans started to wonder, is there tension there? Did Rihanna distance herself from Jay-Z? Is there bad blood? Now, I want to be clear. There's no verified evidence of any conflict between Rihanna and Rock Nation. But in the world of celebrity conspiracy theories, you don't need evidence. You just need dots to connect. And people started connecting them. They pointed to how Rihanna stopped making music right around the time she got with Rocky. They pointed to how she built Fenty into a competitor to brands Jay-Z has investments in. They pointed to old interviews where Rihanna seemed frustrated with the music industry. And then, when this shooting happened, when people found out that a woman had been posting videos calling Rihanna a witch, saying she worshipped the devil, suddenly, the old Illuminati theories came roaring back. The claims that Jay-Z is involved in occult practices, the rumors about spirit cooking and Marina Abramovic. The conspiracy theories have followed Jay-Z and Beyoncé for over a decade, and people started asking, was Ivanna Ortiz just crazy? Or was she exposed to something real? Was she a victim of delusion? Or was she trying to expose something the industry doesn't want you to know? Now let's dig into Ivanna Ortiz herself, because this woman's background is absolutely chilling. She's a licensed speech pathologist, educated, trained to help people, a mother, someone who, on paper, should have had a normal life. But court records paint a very different picture. In 2023, Ivanna was arrested for domestic violence. She called the police herself. But when officers arrived, they realized she was the aggressor. She went on probation for that. She was also arrested for reckless driving. Police say she sped through an intersection, drove through exit lanes, crashed into a tree, and eventually hit a house. She tried to sue the city of Orlando to stop a Billie Eilish concert, claiming the noise would cause irreparable harm. A judge threw that case out. She sued AT&T and T-Mobile, claiming they changed her account without permission. She owed $10,000 on an unpaid credit card. And in a custody battle with her ex-husband, documents show she'd been involuntarily committed to a mental health institution. The judge ordered a social investigation because of concerns about schizophrenia. Her ex-husband's attorney said it plainly. She has all kinds of mental problems. But here's what's disturbing. Despite all of this, despite the clear warning signs, despite the pattern of erratic behavior, she was able to buy a gun. She was able to drive across the country from Florida to California. She was able to locate Rihanna's private residence. And she was able to open fire. How? How does someone with this kind of documented history slip through the cracks? How does someone who's been posting violent threats online for months not get flagged? And here's the question that really haunts me. Was she acting alone? Because when you look at her social media posts, something doesn't add up. She was fixated on Rihanna, obsessed. But where did that obsession come from? Ivanna Ortiz has no connection to the music industry. She's not a fan who got too close. She's not someone who had a personal relationship with Rihanna. She's a speech pathologist from Florida. So why Rihanna? Why not another celebrity? Why not someone local? Why drive 2,500 miles across the country to target someone you've never met? Some people online have suggested that Ivanna was radicalized, that she fell down a conspiracy theory rabbit hole, that she started watching videos about the Illuminati, about devil worship, about celebrities selling their souls. And somewhere along the way, she became convinced that Rihanna was the source of all her problems, that Rihanna was personally attacking her, that killing Rihanna would somehow free her. And if that's true, it points to a much bigger problem: the way conspiracy theories spread online, the way vulnerable people get pulled into dangerous ideologies, the way social media platforms allow this content to flourish unchecked. Because Ivanna wasn't hiding her intentions. She posted them publicly for months, and nobody stopped her. Now let's talk about the day of the shooting itself. March 8, 2026, a Sunday afternoon. Rihanna and Rocky were inside an Airstream trailer on their property. Their kids were in the main house with Rihanna's mother and staff. It was a normal day, a quiet day. And then at 1:21 p.m., shots rang out. Police radio traffic captured the chaos in real time. Unit, shooting just occurred. White Tesla northbound on Coldwater. 10 gunshots fired from the vehicle at the gate. Suspect vehicle is a white Tesla Model 3. License plate verified. Traveling northbound. Officers responded within minutes. They found the gate riddled with bullet holes. The Airstream trailer's windshield was struck at least twice. And Ivanna Ortiz was apprehended shortly after. She didn't try to run. She didn't resist. According to reports, she seemed calm, almost relieved, like she had accomplished what she came to do. And when investigators searched her social media, when they found the months of videos and posts targeting Rihanna, they realized this wasn't impulsive. This was planned. This was the culmination of months of obsession. And the only reason Rihanna, Rocky, and their family are still alive is because that gate held, because those bullets slowed down just enough, because luck was on their side. But here's where things get even more disturbing. After the shooting, after Ivanna was arrested, after the news broke, Rihanna and her family fled. Reports say she was seen leaving California with a lot of luggage, heading somewhere safe, somewhere private, somewhere the public can't find her. And you have to ask yourself, what does it feel like to be Rihanna right now? To be one of the most famous people on earth, to have achieved everything: wealth, success, family, love, and to realize that none of it can protect you from a stranger with a gun. because that's the reality of celebrity in 2026. You can have all the money in the world. You can have security, gates, cameras, alarms. You can live in the most exclusive neighborhood in Los Angeles, and it still doesn't matter. Someone determined enough, someone broken enough, someone disconnected from reality enough, they can still get to you. And the scariest part? This isn't the first time this has happened. In 2023, a man broke into Nicki Minaj's home. In 2022, multiple celebrities dealt with stalkers showing up at their properties. In 2021, Lady Gaga's dog walker was shot during a robbery. The pattern is clear. Fame has become dangerous in a way it never was before, because the social media has made celebrities feel accessible. Fans feel like they know these people personally. They follow their lives daily. They see their homes, their families, their routines. And for some people, that parasocial relationship becomes something darker. It becomes obsession. It becomes delusion. It becomes violence. So let's address the conspiracy theories head on. Was this gang retaliation connected to Rocky? Probably not, because gang members don't hire mentally ill women to do hits. They don't use people who post their plans on YouTube for months. They move in silence. They strike fast, and they don't miss. Was this connected to Roc Nation or Jay-Z? Again, probably not. There's zero evidence of any conflict between Rihanna and Jay-Z, and the idea that Jay-Z would orchestrate something like this makes no sense. Why would he target someone who made him millions? Someone who's still connected to his brand? It doesn't add up. So what's the real story? The real story is the one nobody wants to talk about. Mental illness, online radicalization, the failure of social media platforms to stop dangerous content, and the way celebrity culture has created a world where people feel entitled to access, to intimacy, to control over the lives of public figures. Ivanna Ortiz wasn't hired by anyone. She wasn't part of conspiracy. She was a sick woman who fell into a delusion and nearly killed a family because of it, and the system failed to stop her. So what happens now? Ivanna Ortiz is sitting in jail with a $10 million bail. Her arraignment has been delayed to March 25th, 2026. If convicted, she's facing life in prison, and she should, because what she did wasn't just an attack on Rihanna. It was an attack on Rocky, on their children, on Rihanna's mother, on everyone in that house. And if those bullets had penetrated that Airstream trailer, we'd be mourning one of the most important cultural figures of our generation. But beyond this individual case, we need to talk about the bigger implications, because this is going to happen again. Not to Rihanna, hopefully, but to someone. Some celebrity is going to be targeted by a fan who lost touch with reality. Some family is going to be traumatized. Some life is going to be lost. Unless we start taking this seriously. Social media platforms need to do better. YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, they need to flag content like Ivanna's videos. They need to intervene when someone is clearly planning violence. They need to stop prioritizing engagement over safety. Law enforcement needs to do better. When someone with a documented history of mental illness, domestic violence, and erratic behavior starts posting threats online, there need to be mechanisms to intervene, to get them help before they hurt someone. And as a society, we need to rethink our relationship with celebrity culture, because the way we consume these people's lives, the way we feel entitled to know everything about them, the way we treat them as products instead of human beings, it creates the condition for violence like this. And what about Rihanna and Rocky? How do they move forward from this? Because you can't just go back to normal after something like this. You can't unsee your children's home being shot at. You can't unhear the sound of gunfire aimed at your family. Rocky spoke years ago about how being with Rihanna changed his life, how she took a blindfold off, how she made him see what real love and partnership looked like. And now they have to navigate raising their children in a world where this kind of danger is real, where fame has consequences that go beyond paparazzi and tabloids, where someone they've never met can show up with a gun and try to end everything. And I think about those kids, 3 young children who were in that house when the shots rang out. What kind of psychological impact does that have? How do you explain to a child that someone wanted to hurt their mother? How do you maintain any sense of normalcy? You can't, and that's the tragedy here. Even though everyone survived, even though the bullets didn't penetrate, even though Ivanna is behind bars, the damage is done. The trauma is real, and it's going to shape this family for the rest of their lives. Now, let's talk about what the internet got wrong, because in the hours after the story broke, social media went wild with speculation. People claimed this was a conspiracy, that Rocky was exposing secrets about the industry, that Jay-Z was involved. that this was gang warfare. And within 24 hours, those claims have been shared millions of times. They became facts in certain corners of the internet. They became the narrative, even though none of it was true. And this is a danger how information spreads in 2026. One person posts an unverified claim. A commentary channel picks it up. A gossip account shares it. And suddenly, millions of people believe something that never happened. This is how celebrity rumors destroy lives. This is how innocent people get accused of crimes they didn't commit. This is how the truth gets buried under layers of speculation and fiction. And we need to be better. As consumers of media, as participants in online culture, as human beings, we need to stop spreading information we haven't verified. We need to stop treating entertainment like it's more important than truth. We need to stop weaponizing tragedy for clicks and views. Because what happened to Rihanna and her family is real. It's not content. It's not a storyline. It's not something to speculate about for engagement. It's a near tragedy that could have ended with multiple deaths. And it deserves to be treated with the seriousness it demands. So, where do we go from here? As of March 2026, Rihanna has stepped back from public life. She's focusing on her family, on healing, on creating safety for her children. And you know what? Good. She doesn't owe us music. She doesn't owe us appearances. She doesn't owe us anything. She's a human being who nearly lost her life, who watched bullets strike the vehicle she was sitting in, who had to explain to her children why armed security now patrols their home 24/7. And if she never releases another song, if she never does another interview, if she decides that privacy and safety are more important than fame, nobody should blame her. Because what's the point of being the biggest star in the world if you can't live in peace? What's the point of building a billion-dollar empire if you're constantly looking over your shoulder? What's the point of success if it makes you a target? Rocky said it best years ago. He wasn't ready for a relationship like this until he met Rihanna, until he found someone real, until he found someone worth building a life with. And now, they're building that life in the aftermath of trauma. They're raising their children in a world that proved itself dangerous. And they're doing it with a strength most people will never have defined. But let's be real about one more thing. The legal system. Because Ivanna Ortiz is going to stand trial. She's going to face a judge and jury. And her defense team is going to argue mental illness. They're going to present evidence of her schizophrenia, her involuntary commitments, her documented struggles. They're going to try to paint her as a victim, as someone who wasn't in control of her actions, as someone who needs help, not punishment. And here's the uncomfortable truth. They might be right. Ivanna Ortiz is clearly a sick woman. She clearly needs psychiatric help. She clearly lost touch with reality. But that doesn't change what she did. It doesn't change the terror she inflicted. It doesn't change the fact that she drove 2,500 miles with a semi-automatic weapon to kill someone. And it doesn't change the fact that if she had succeeded, 3 children would have lost their mother. A partner would have lost his soulmate. The world would have lost an icon. So yes, she needs help, but she also needs to be held accountable. Because we can't live in a world where attempted murder gets excused because someone was mentally ill. We can't create a system where dangerous people face no consequences because they claim they didn't understand what they were doing. There has to be justice. There has to be accountability. And there has to be a message sent that this will never be tolerated. So let me bring this full circle. March 8th, 2026. A day that could have changed music history forever. A day that could have ended with one of the most important artists of our generation dead. A day that exposed the dark side of fame, the danger of obsession, and the failure of systems designed to protect us. Rihanna survived. Rocky survived. Their children survived. But the scars are permanent, and the questions remain. How do we prevent this from happening again? How do we protect celebrities without turning them into prisoners? How do we balance freedom of speech with the need to stop dangerous rhetoric online? How do we treat mental illness while still holding people accountable for violence? I don't have all the answers, but I know this. We can't keep ignoring the warning signs. We can't keep allowing platforms to profit off dangerous content. We can't keep treating celebrities like they're not real people with real families who deserve safety. And we can't keep spreading rumors and conspiracy theories that distract from the truth, because the truth is simple. A sick woman nearly killed a family. The system failed to stop her. And now we all have to reckon with what that means. So let me know in the comments. What do you think about Ivanna Ortiz's mental state? Should she face life in prison or psychiatric care? Do you think social media platforms did enough to prevent this? How do you think Rihanna and Rocky should move forward? And what does this say about celebrity culture in 2026? Let me know your thoughts, because this conversation is far from over. If you made it to this point in the video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. It helps me out a ton. And it shows that people care about real journalism, not just clickbait and rumors. I can't thank you enough for watching. Your support means everything. But in the meantime, if you want to see how celebrity obsession has led to other dangerous situations, how stalkers have targeted major artists, and why fame has become more dangerous than ever, well, you're not going to want to miss this one. So check out the suggested video, because the next story might be even more disturbing than this one. Stay safe out there. And remember, behind every headline is a real person, a real family, real trauma, and real consequences.